good. Now this is going to seem like an incredible leap, but I'm about to speak to a woman who was told by her GP that she had hay fever, that over the course of a weekend was told that in fact she had a brain tumour, which seems absolutely unimaginable, but indeed that is what happened to mum of two, Suzanne Davies from Newton Hill. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there.
Hi, thanks for joining us, Suzanne. I mean, when you say like that, it seems absolutely remarkable, but I mean, is that a fair kind of sum up of what happened?
That's exactly what happened, yeah.
So tell us the process then. I mean, what symptoms were you having that made you go to the GP in the first place?
For about 3 weeks beforehand, I had a few strange experiences, but mainly just to do with speech and sort of memory. I would have random headaches in the morning, maybe just 3 or 4 seconds, but they would go away again. As the month went on, this is April 2014, as the month went on, it got worse, and I would start to forget words, you know, when you're talking and you say, oh yeah, and I was like going to the, what's it called again? And lots of people do that kind of thing, and it didn't seem, you know, too different to me, apart from these little headaches. As the month went on, we'd gone away on holiday, came back, went back to work, and suddenly things just started going really strange. I was looking at emails, couldn't make any sense of them. Walk away, come back to my desk, have a look again, you know, make a cup of tea, come back, and I would look at them and I'd think, you know, this, I can't understand what these words are saying.
Right.
And I'd think, well, why are these people making things so difficult? I've done this job for 9 years, you know, I must know what this is. I don't understand what they're asking for. And
so you'd be looking at very familiar words.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
yes.
and what, your brain just wasn't computing, or what?
Completely couldn't understand it. It was like I couldn't read again. The words didn't make sense. The same with text messages. I was trying to send them and looked back afterwards and they made no sense at all.
Right.
Couldn't understand ones that were coming in, for example. So that just got worse and worse. And on the 3rd week, decided that I had to go to the doctor. There's something just not right, you know, going on. And I do think you need to be in tune with your body. But went along and he did assess me really well. But at the end he said, oh, I think it's just, you know, I'd mentioned that I get bad hay fever in the summer. And he said, oh, it could just be that your sinuses are flaring up, and I think it's just that. If it's not any better, come back in 2 weeks' time. Two paracetamol a day if his head's still sore, and come back in 2 weeks' time. As the weekend went on, things were getting a lot worse. Waking up in the night, couldn't actually breathe. I think it was the pressure of the tumour on my head. And on the Monday I went into the doctor and saw a different doctor. Now that went on the first one, he was fantastic. He did check everything, but you know, he couldn't see that. And actually, it seems that that's quite common, that people have multiple visits before they actually are diagnosed sometimes. But
well, you're in your 30s, are you, Suzanne?
I'm 37, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they just wouldn't be looking for it, would they?
Well, no, that's it, to be fair. But when I did see the second doctor, she pretty much knew straight away. But it wasn't happening all the time. I was, you know, get to the point where I couldn't even talk properly because I just couldn't think about, I could hear the words, but it didn't make any sense to me.
Were your family noticing and people around you?
Yeah, my husband noticed, and yeah, my close family did notice. The kids didn't, apart from one time I tried to read a story to my daughter, who was 4 at the time, and I made no sense at all. And I'll never forget the way she looked at me as much as saying, Mum, what are you talking about? You know, and she was just little. So
must have been terrifying, Suzanne.
To be honest, it wasn't. I knew there was something not right, but I didn't know if I was a little bit stressed. That's actually kind of what I thought it was. I thought, I'm really busy. I've got, you know, I work my own business as well with Arbonne, and I was doing that as well as my other business. I've got 2 kids. You know, I don't sit in my bum for 2 minutes. So I just thought, I think I'm just a bit stressed. But by the Sunday, my head was so sore that I decided that I need to go back to the doctor. So when I did go back to see her, these things weren't happening all the time. So when they were, I was taking a note of them. And it meant that if when I went to the doctor, if that happened, then I could tell her what was happening. That's exactly what I did. And she was fantastic. She just said, can you read this passage from the newspaper? I couldn't even read the words, never mind sentences. And she obviously knew, or was pretty sure what it was. She sent me straight up to A&E, and within 2 hours of seeing her and having a CT scan, they came back and told me they'd found a mass on my brain.
A tumour on your brain, or
They said it was a mass, and they needed to look at what it was, but they needed to get it out as quickly as possible. The size of a golf ball, 5 centimetres.
wow. I mean, Suzanne, stay there. We need to hear where this story goes. But we've got Hugh Adams of the Brain Tumour Research Charity. Hi, Hugh.
Morning, Kaye. Morning, Suzanne.
Good morning. How unusual is this kind of occurrence?
Well, I mean, it's still a comparatively rare disease, thankfully, but no less devastating for that. I mean, Suzanne's issue with misdiagnoses are increasingly common. I mean, if you think the average GP will only see 1 or 2 brain tumours in his career. They sometimes are reluctant to take people down that step towards an MRI scan. I would say there are things like, could it be depression? Could it be epilepsy? Have a check with your optician. And unfortunately, this means that far too often people are further down the line than Suzanne was, where they're now being diagnosed at A&E or through their opticians, and that's clearly not the situation that we want to have happening.
And what is happening on the brain? I mean, Suzanne said it was described as a mass on the brain, but it seemed to be specifically affecting your language skills, Suzanne, is that right?
That's right, it's the speech part of my brain.
So, I mean, not to simple, I know the brain is the most complex organ, but I mean, is it like there's a bit pressing on the language bit?
I mean, not knowing exactly what the clinician said to Suzanne. I mean, this is one of the key problems with brain tumours, of course, is the proximity to areas that control other parts of the human condition. So, if you were operating on a lump in the breast, you can go in, you can take the lump out, knowing that you're not actually going to damage any other part of the any other organ. With brain tumours, you could be very close to part of the brain that controls sight or logic or language, and so clearly that's why you might get an inoperable brain tumour.
Yeah. I mean, Suzanne, when they said that they had identified this, was it a fairly fast track to surgery then?
It was, yes. It was only 9 days afterwards that I had my craniotomy, and I was given the option to do that a week, which I did, because I knew it would give me the best outcome.
Right, so talk us through that.
What they actually do is, it was a 6-hour operation, and for the first hour and a half you are under general anaesthetic, and they obviously open your head up without too much graphic detail, and then they wake you up. It's all controlled very well, very, very well, and I worked with a speech therapist called Penny, who was lovely. She kind of had a benchmark of where I was at, and she understood what was normal for me at that stage, which, to be honest, I mean, the doctors would come in and I had to have at least 2 people with me, family and friends, just to make sure that they picked up what the doctor was saying, because I couldn't understand what was saying, and everything just went completely wrong and not what I was used to. So I got the operation 9 days later, and it was very successful.
Right. But when you were saying that you were awake throughout the operation, what were they talking to you?
They were, Penny, the speech therapist, was right beside me, and it was quite surreal, to be honest, when I think back. But at the time, if they say to you count 1 to 50, so you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then they know that's fine. If I had said 1, 2, 3 and stopped or had any problem, they would know that the part of the brain that they were operating on would get affected long term. So just as the surgeon said there, that they would have, I might have a speech or all sorts of problems. So I decided that I wanted to be able to be there for my kids to do their homework and to help them read and all these sorts of things. So I decided that I wanted to give myself the best chance, and that's why I did it a week.
Right. So this dialogue went on through a good part of the surgery, just to help them determine, where they were and what part of the brain that they were affecting.
Absolutely.
And so when you came out, how quick was the recovery? Did you notice an instant difference or what?
Well, at that stage, they still don't know if it's actually cancerous, or if it's malignant or benign. So obviously we had the hope that, well, we've got this out. And actually the strange thing, Kaye, was that as soon as I took it out, it was like the problem had just gone. And literally, I still have moments, I still get a lot of fatigue, and I still get a lot of, there's some days that I have a little bit of confusion. My short-term memory isn't great, but in the whole of, out the whole of it, it's amazing. And they tell you, well, they came back and said it was a glioblastoma, which is a type of malignant or a type of brain tumour, and the malignancy goes from 1 to 4, 1 being benign and 4 being highly malignant, and mine is a 4. So the prognosis isn't good, but to be honest, as soon as I was diagnosed with it, obviously I thought about the kids and I thought, oh, this is, I just thought I just need to fight this. I've done a lot of personal growth, and I decided that I was just going to be positive throughout the whole thing. So,
And you're very much involved in fundraising now, yeah?
Yes, we've been working with the Brain Tumour Charity, and myself and my family decided that we wanted to create more awareness about brain tumours, and also we decided to start our own fund. So within 8 months, we've actually raised £21,000 for the Brain Tumour Charity.
Wow.
Just to help with that research.
Yeah, God, that's a fantastic amount of money. I mean, in terms of research, Hugh, I mean, where do the funds need to go?
Well, clearly they need to look into all areas of brain tumours. I mean, Suzanne was saying about her type of tumour being a grade 4. There are other people with tumours from 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 120 different types of brain tumours. The way that brain tumours occur in paediatric cases are different to the way that cases occur in adults. There's something called the blood-brain barrier that means that generic cancer drugs aren't efficacious in the brain. It's a hugely complex area, and we can say with absolute certainty we won't improve patient outcomes unless we improve the amount of money we put into brain tumour research.
I mean, is it just bad luck?
I think it's a number of things. I think it's about long-term survivors becoming long-term advocates for better funding. I think there is a lot about the campaign that we do, so it's beholden on charities such as ours to have involving fundraising campaigns so that we get into the public eye in the way that prostate cancer and breast cancer.
No, but I mean, is it bad luck for someone to have a brain tumour? There's no genetic kind of...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, no, I misunderstood your question. Absolutely, it's completely indiscriminate. So we don't know what causes them, and until we know what causes them, then we're not able to really provide effective care and research and understanding of the disease.
Right. Okay. Suzanne, have you gone through the why me?
I have, because I thought, my mum says it more. My mum said to me, why you? And I said, well, why anyone? And her response, to be honest, was, well, why not
Somebody
murderers
else
in prison?
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is. And yes, I'd much rather not have it, but I said I've got a positive outlook in it. You can either sit, the way I see it, you can sit in the corner and cry about it and it's not going to change anything, or you stay positive and you do what you can for yourself. And that's exactly what I do.
Well, absolutely. Well, Suzanne, listen, thank you very much for speaking to us, and we wish you all the very, very best in the future.
Thank you. Can I just add one thing?
Go on.
Kaye? Yeah. It's just to say that over £500 million is raised each year for cancer research in general, and less than 2% of that goes to brain cancer research. So that's the reason that we obviously want to, highlight this as well. So we appreciate the chance to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, absolutely happy to get that out there. Thank you very much indeed, Suzanne Davies and Hugh Adams from the Brain Tumour Research Charity. Let me just tell you what was coming up in radio.